one of the biggest, latest learnings for me and my team, especially on the sales side, was how to sell. Like I found a person that is doing sales training, and we've done sales training for many years, like trying to perfect our technique and so on. But this person, and I'm going to say his name because it's completely worth it.
Mihai, pleasure to have you. Innovators Can Laugh. How are you doing today?
Pleasure to be here, Eric. I'm great. Enjoying the cold weather here with the rain.
I haven't been outside today. Normally I take my kids every morning to school, but this morning my wife took them. So I guess I'll experience it this afternoon when I go pick them up.
Yeah, you should. It's a pleasure.
Okay, I'm going to read a little bit about your history so that way the audience can get an understanding about your background. So you're an engineer, but you also have experience as a business analyst and software developer. You are the CEO of Ringtail, which is a suite of applications for the management of energy and gas and supply trading, production, and balancing. And for almost 4 years, you've been managing another company, sort of like another business unit called Processio, which is a visual software development environment in the cloud using no code, low code, and full code to deliver value to businesses by removing repetitive manual work and automating business processes. Mihai, you seem like a pretty busy guy. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say so, especially lately. Yeah, I am.
All right. Well, let's start up. Where did you grow up and what did you want to be as a kid?
I grew up in Râmnicu Vâlcea, which is a city near the mountainside. Basically, people say that is the city where Caragiale, for those who know, used to go and take his stories from and wrote O scrisoare pierdută, or a lost letter. And I wanted to become a doctor when I was little. Like I wanted to become a heart surgeon, very specifically.
All right. And what was one of the first entrepreneurial things you ever did as a kid? Or young person?
I think that the first one was I didn't do it. I wanted to create calendars and have my mother sell those calendars in the market.
Wait a minute. You weren't going to sell them. You were going to have your mom sell them?
Yeah, exactly. That was the idea. And probably that's why it didn't work. I didn't manage to convince her to do it.
Did you offer to pay her a commission at least?
Yeah, from what she sold, obviously.
Okay. Or on the calendars, is drawings that you made or what?
No, actually, I planned to create the calendars in Excel and print them and sell them, like with some nice pictures of seasons, each season with their own picture and each month with their own specific picture.
Okay. Never heard of anyone making a calendar in Excel, but why not? You can almost do anything nowadays.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. What is the best advice your mom or dad ever gave you, Mihai?
Whoa, tough one. They always gave me advices like, don't do that. or you shouldn't behave that way. I think that there's no one specific advice that comes through my mind at this point, but the combination of all those advices, I think, allowed me to have a very powerful work ethic. And I think those are the sets of advices that I would consider to be the most valuable. Now that I was thinking about it, actually one came to mind. My father is not an advice, is something that he used to say a lot. Like he said it like this: instead of being a poor engineer, you should rather be a very good worker.
Okay. And last question before we get into Processio here. What's something interesting about you that most people don't know? They're not going to see this on your LinkedIn profile, Mihai.
The most interesting, I think it's also related to my work ethic. Like if I cannot be smarter than other people and outthink them in terms of, okay, let's do this. How do we do this? Like not to pretend to be smarter, but to actually think better. If I can't do that, I will outwork them, right? So this is something that you do not see on my LinkedIn profile. But I think that people that are close to me know that.
Okay. So managing two different business units, how many hours per week would you estimate that you work?
I haven't counted them, but I would say a lot. And lately, I'm actually trying to reduce those numbers and also to be more strict related to the time that I allocate to myself and for my family. And for that reason, I'm trying to lower the number of working hours that I do and try to be as focused as possible when I actually do work. So I wouldn't say that currently I'm doing crazy hours. Probably I have like a bit longer schedule than most people. I would say that like probably 9 to 10 hours a day. And I try not to work in weekends anymore.
My wife was telling me this weekend, like she does most weekends, like you got your laptop open again. Why do you work on the weekends? And for people who've never tried to be an entrepreneur, it's very hard for them to understand why entrepreneurs tend to work all the time, especially on weekends. But my response to her was the same as always. You love what you do. It's not really work.
Exactly. But at the same time, what it happens is that you want to do as much work as you can because you're an entrepreneur. But as you get tired, you will be less productive. So there's a tipping point where the work that you do actually doesn't help you and doesn't help anybody. So you would rather sit and rest than actually do that work because you will not be productive.
Yeah. Do you ever use time blocks? I tend to do maximum, usually like 45-minute increments. So I'll work on a task or something and I'll put a countdown on my phone and I'll say, okay, for 45 minutes, I'm just going to be focused on this one thing.
I'm not using it like that. Actually, yes, I have my schedule in my calendar, so that everybody in the company can know if they need something from me, they can book me. Unfortunately for them, currently, this period of year, mostly everything is booked and the time increments are not fixed and dependent on the type of job that I need to do. It can range from half an hour up to 2-3 hours. Especially when I need to be in deep focus, I have a longer period of time because I also sometimes code in this period of time. And probably the listeners know that once you get into the zone, it first of all, it requires you around 30 minutes to get into the productive zone, to get focus and to basically load all the information within your brain so that you can actually be productive. And if you get interrupted, it will, even for 2 seconds by somebody, it will take you another 30 minutes to get into the zone back again.
Yeah, no, I understand. I actually love early mornings, 5 to 7 a.m. because it's complete quiet, no meetings, no interruptions. The kids aren't awake yet. And that's actually when I get my best work done, 5 to 7 a.m. Do you have is there a certain time of day that you get a lot of your deep work done? Yeah.
Yeah. I learned to do my deep work anytime I have a free time and I have a space dedicated to that. And I can focus like really, really good regardless, but I need to have quiet around me. But similar to what you said, I have a reading period that I'm best focused at. So when I read the book, I would rather read it in the morning, or if not in the morning, I would rather read it outside in the park or somewhere where I can relax and I cannot get distracted easily.
Let's talk a little bit about your startup Procesio and what inspired you to start it, and how did the initial idea evolve into what it is today?
Yeah. So what inspired me to create Procesio was actually business needs. With the power and gas business, once we expanded to Serbia, we realized that we need to configure stuff instead of writing code, right? And as we had this realization, then we started to look for ways of financing this approach for us to achieve internally. So at that point, we didn't realize that this might be actually a commercial product, but it would, in our minds, this is a product for us to help us grow faster, right? So that's what it was. And as we worked towards financing this internal solution for us, we worked with fund consultants. And at that point, I started to learn a lot about no code, low code, about the fact that there's a market, about the fact that there's a need, there's a gap in the market. And that's how the idea of creating a commercial product that can bridge this gap came. And it took me and my team around 2 years from the initial idea. And the initial idea was that this is a tool for us, up to the idea that this should be a commercial product. So 2 years took us. And once we set the goal that we should create a commercial product, the vision was that it should be a platform where you can build software, period. Any type of software. And that's what we are building towards with Procesio. We are building it towards becoming a software product building kit.
Okay. But you mentioned that you're now in Serbia, so you have customers in both Romania and Serbia. Now, can you give us like a little bit of a case story about a satisfied customer? What is it that they really liked about the product, and what was the use case they used it for?
Yeah, the client in Serbia was for the power and gas, and meanwhile, probably there were some energy market price problems throughout Europe, and that client bankrupt. So we lost that client. Meanwhile, he didn't use Procesio, but he could have if he still was our client. But we have clients in many countries for Procesio. We have one client, for example, that's a very good, interesting use case, is a client from New York. They are using Procesio to extract data from bank statements, 1 million bank statements per year. So the use case there is that they are doing debt relief services. Basically, clients that try to refinance their debts need to look at their bank statements and to identify recurring payments for other creditors, stuff like that. And we extract all those informations from bank statements, regardless of the bank, and then structure the data, calculate it, and then pass it to our client. That's one example, but I have many. Like if you have the time, we can speak only about that. Another client.
Yeah, I'm impressed that within 2 years, you were at clients in many different countries. What were some things that you did to scale and to grow?
We banged our heads against the wall a lot. That's what we did. So I think that's part of the process. You need to bang your head against the wall. What we've done was that we've iterated a lot. We've made a lot of assumptions and went validating those assumptions. Like, for example, our initial assumption was that our ideal client is the software development company, which is not. They are the users. They are the potential users. Then we thought that there's the integrating company, which again, they're not. Now we found that they are the ideal partner profile, but not the ideal customer profile, and so on, right? So, and every conversation that we had with potential clients, we tried to understand their pain points, to extract as many information as possible, and to overlap with our existing capabilities to see if we can solve anything for them. And then we've tried to sell Procesio to those clients, and some bought, some didn't. For the ones that they bought, we tried, after we implemented the solution, we tried to see if we can find other clients like those that they have the same problem, that we can offer the same solution, and so on. So it was an iterative process that allowed us to find our clients, to improve our product, and to understand which is our place in this market and how should we grow.
In terms of the team behind Procesio, was this entirely a new team, or did you take some members of the Greenhill business unit and bring them over to try and grow Procesio?
It was an entire new team, right? So because the power and gas division, the Greenhill existing team, was already busy with the power and gas software suite that we have. So we needed to employ new people, right? So the first person that I had to pitch was Marian, which is basically the co-founder of Procesio and the deputy CEO of Procesio. And he's the first one. And then he recruited other people. And that's how we've built the team. Basically, even though it's the same company, it's under the same roof. They are two different teams and they act like they are two different companies. Like one of the hardest thing for me was to actually make them work together. Like when we had common projects, the Processio team was like the Jeffy, because Jeffy is the name of the power and gas product. Jeffy should do this. Jeffy team was like, Processio should do this. Like they were completely separate. Now they are friends, but still they are separate.
So what were some of the things that you did to get them collaborating and build that camaraderie between the different two teams?
There are different things that we've done, not just me. The first thing that we've done was we've done some parties together. The second thing was that the Marian, the deputy CEO of Processio, and Relu, which is the deputy CEO of the power and gas division, are participating and are knowing each other and are working together. And that translated and went out to every member of the team to a certain degree, obviously. They are still focused on their own activities. But the fact that Relu and Marian took part of all the common activities, that helped a lot. And that mindset went through to the team.
Okay. What are you excited about most in the next 12 months for Processio? Yeah.
Oh, sales. There's a lot of sales. That's why I'm busy currently, very busy, because we're doing a lot of sales and we're pushing to triple next year as well. So
wow, what's the forecast for 2024 in terms of revenue?
So this year we're going to close with 600,000 euros in sales. Keep in mind, we started selling only last year in July. And next year, we're hoping to cross 1.5 million in sales.
All right. Very, very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Now, every startup and new business has its series of highs and lows. Was the low banging your head against the wall, or were there any other big obstacles to get in your way from getting the kind of growth that you guys achieved so far?
The hardest part was, I would say banging the head against the wall, and not because we were banging, but because we didn't see anything. Like, it was complete dark. It was like dense fog. Like, imagine when you open the light in the fog, and as the light is brighter, you see less, right? So that's how we felt. Like, we thought that we knew the road, and then it wasn't there. That was not the road. And after 10 pivoting and iterations and so on, then you start to think, okay, what now? Now where? Where should we go now? Right. So I would say the frustration was the biggest low, and the fact that the frustration of actually invalidating everything, because before you validate, you have a lot of invalidation that you're doing, is the frustration that you haven't found yet something valid. That's the biggest low.
Yeah. It sounds like pivoting is something that you learned from growing a couple of tech companies. Any other big learnings, Jan?
Yeah. I think there are big learnings in every small detail. And I think there are not, and myself included, people are not valuing enough the small details. Like, from every team member, like, how do you recruit? How do you keep them motivated? How do you manage to pay them? Up to the product. How do you build the product? What are the features? How do you prioritize? How do you sell? What do you say to your clients, to your prospects, and so on? And I would say one of the biggest, latest learnings for me and my team, especially on the sales side, was how to sell. Like, I found a person that is doing sales training, and we've done sales training for many years, like trying to perfect our technique and so on. But this person, and I'm going to say his name because it's completely worth it, Matt Wallach, Excelus. So 100% behind this man. Like, what he teaches is completely game changing. At least it was for us, and not just for us. Like, the way you demo, like, and that's how he sold us. Like, for example, in his demo process, he convinced me directly from the demo call, from the sales call, that I should buy from him. And the techniques that he used, I didn't understand them at that point, but what I felt was that I need to buy from him. And he teaches the same techniques on how do you make your prospects need to buy from you, not want, but need to buy from you from the demo call directly. And I would say that's the deepest and the most powerful thing that I've learned lately. And obviously that has a lot of impact within our business.
Okay. I wrote his name down, Matt Wallach, and I'm going to look him up because I am very interested in his services now.
Yeah. You should definitely contact him. And also one cool stuff that he's doing, and also it's part of his technique, he has behind him like a board of the flags of the people that he's working with. And I've put the Romania flag there.
Good for you. Speaking of flags and small details, Mihai, it's so funny you said that because in the very beginning on my podcast art cover for each episode, I thought it was a great idea to put the country flag of where the guest was from, because I interviewed people from Lithuania, Hungary, Romania, all over Europe. And I thought, oh, this is great. And I showed it to somebody and their feedback was, oh, wow, when I saw that flag, I understood that, the podcast is actually in Romanian language. And so they weren't even going to bother listening to it because they just assumed that it wasn't in English. And that little detail, right? It's so much, something I never even thought of. So yeah, completely agree with you. It helps to get a lot of eyeballs on certain things because you just things that you had no idea, that you just assumed that they weren't going to cause any friction or any confusion, but some little things too.
Yeah. I can confirm that. I've felt that multiple times, like things that I didn't accredited any importance to had the most importance. Like that was the reason that multiple things change or do not change.
Yeah. And especially if you're a country that's looking to go into another country, another language. So many Romanian companies go into Poland, Hungary, you went into Serbia. It really helps to get a native, person who speaks that language to go over all of your communication. Because I've seen so many times where Romanian companies, they're trying to go into the US market and I'll read an email or see something on their website. And guys, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. This is the translation, but to the native speaker, it actually resonates differently. And this is how I would word it. So that's another something I've learned from being here in Romania for years working with startup here. Let's get into the rapid fire, Mihai. I'm pretty excited about this. You're going to fill in the blank for a few questions here. The first one is the Academy Award for blank goes to Mihai. The Academy Award for
work.
That's it. Work. Okay. The next one for you. Blank is a contest or game I have won.
Can you repeat that?
Blank is a contest or a game I have won.
I have no idea how to fill that. I don't feel that I won any contest, but work. I would put work as well.
Okay. Next one. Blank is a crazy thing I did in college.
Party.
Okay. All right. Next one. Blank is an unusual food or drink I like.
Liver.
Sure. Okay. I'm laughing because my wife likes liver. I do not like liver. Don't eat it. And she's trying to give it to the kids. And secretly, I'm hoping they take it and they throw it on the floor. But my son likes it. So I'm like, oh my God, now I've got two people in the house that like liver. This is awful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It can be fantastic, but also it can be awful depending on how you prepare it. So,
yeah. Okay, last one for you. Instead of stock options and bonuses, you now give new hires blank.
Hope for the future.
Hope for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mihai, thanks so much for being on Innovators Can Lab. Where can people learn more about you, Mihai?
Look me up on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn.
All right, will do. I'll include Mihai's LinkedIn show notes along with the website for Procesio.com. Everybody, I will be back next week with another exciting European startup founder. Mihai, thanks for coming on to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for having me.
My pleasure.